So what's up guys, another ToaHell video. So I keep repeating, this is the team, wait let me unpause this for a sec. This is the team I'm using most of the time. It is not a free-to-play team, but how to make it free-to-play: you add Tyron, semi-free-to-play, you remove Jeanne for unbalanced field Dark Homunculus, which is actually better than Ganymede. You can use the both of them together as well. You remove Balance for Spectra. Jeanne is free to play, and then you have one option left, which you can fit in whatever unit you have that you think is fitting. Preferably attack by pushbacks, stuns, anything like that. For runes, I recommend to have at least one unit on Despair and the others probably Violent. So in my case, everything here is Vio except for Poseidon. Poseidon is Despair. So that's pretty much what you want to run throughout like all of the stages. And here and there you have some exceptions and that kind of stuff. So I'm going over every stage, what I used, what are the effects you have to work with, and that kind of stuff. So stage 1, really easy. The units are a lot slower. Immunity to immune to cooldown increasing effects, and passives don't work. So you can't go for Vert, you can't go for Lauren. And immunity cooldown increasing effect. So Ganymede technically doesn't work, but still Ganymede in there for the pushback is pretty good. So at the final stage, it's Sierras, Prahas, and Laimas. Yes, this is the censored version in China. I get this question more often for people that haven't seen my channel before. If you log in from a Chinese IP, you get the censored version of some skins, in which case you have like leggings on the oracles, and you have some more stuff like this. But this one was pretty easy. You just keep outspeeding them. I had a little bit of lag, so I'm not showing too much of the footage. I'm just showing it like a little bit here and there, because I was playing on my BlueStacks for my alt at the same time as well, which apparently didn't like to be recorded that much like that way. So that's a clear of 3 stars. So next one, I also show the runes that I used in a sec. I went overboard on the runes. I do that every month. Why do I do that? How do I do that? Why? Is simply because it makes ToaHell a lot easier. Second reason, I have too much mana, but I recommend you guys to do ToaHell on a free rune removal. Therefore, you can just throw your best runes at these units, clear ToaHell until like the 20 stars within like 2-3 hours, switch it back, do your free rune removal, that kind of stuff. So I really recommend to at least get your Devilmon if you're struggling with this. Get your best rune sets, your siege runes, your arena runes. You get those runes to these kind of units, clear it, and switch it back. It's just once a month, and it really helps you out with the extra Devilmon, especially if you're like more free to play-ish. This is a really good way to actually get some extra crystals, some extra resources, that kind of stuff. So what do we have for this one? We have 2 turns counter and 1 turn immunity. This is a little bit more tricky for people that do not have a Tiana. I use this with Jeanne. Tiana is technically pretty much as good as Jeanne, but without a Tiana, if you would use any standard stripper, like let's say a Triton or whatnot, then you probably have the issue that you are gonna get countered, because there are some units that actually do counters in here. I also showcase my runes here in a sec. So this was my Triton, 195 speed, 173 speed Vio. Getting enough accuracy. So okay, this went really fast. You have to pause the video. Pause it on the correct frame. It went too fast. Okay, so that's up to you. These runes are pretty crazy. So this I mostly just do with a Jeanne. So yeah, in this kind of stage, if you push back, they're actually gonna start hitting you if you don't stun them, which is pretty annoying. And that actually went wrong here as well the first time. If you don't strip everything, that's why I say Tiana is actually better than Jeanne, because you don't really need Jeanne for anything else than the strip. And Jeanne can actually fail. So you have 15 resist check, or like, yeah, you have 15% resist check times 5, it's gonna fail at some point. So I had to redo the dungeon at some point. It's pretty easy. The units are still not that fast. You just need a good stripper, and then you just start pushing them back all the time. So that's 6 stars. So then we have the next stage, immune to inability effects. So you can't stun, but you can still provoke. So you're using provoke. Immune to cooldown increasing effects. If they don't have any weird passives, it's not that bad. So that's kind of what you have to hope for. And then you can use your same team as always. And you're just working on provokes. So you have some tractors at the start, which you can't really stun, but they do really minimum damage. They have like, I think they hit me for like somewhere around like 2k, 3k per hit. So it barely does anything. So then the next stage, this could be a little tricky because they actually have an increased amount of resistance on passive. So you might miss a few hits here and there, and the Susanos actually deal like a decent amount of damage even on the provokes, and you can stun them, so might be a little tricky, but in most cases should be doable. So then we're at the final stage. They have Mors, which are light Ryus, or not light Ryus, there are what's it called? Water Ryus. They are a little bit annoying because the moment you hit them the first time every third hit, they will get full attack bar. But the moment you survive that hit, they are not doing as much, and then you just like decrease attack bar, same stuff as always. So just the initial hit is annoying, but afterwards you see I'm full HP, it doesn't do too much. So that is 9 stars. Then we have Masha. Masha was actually a more annoying stage for some people. You start off with 1 turn silence. You could go Pheromos or Tetra in this scenario, and you increase the attack bar by 15% every time you hit something. Okay, and then something kind of went wrong with the recording. This part is not recorded as well, it's just like pure lag. So in this case, so I ended up doing it with both Pheromos and Vigor, and we have a nice amount of frames. So you can still stun the units, which is pretty nice. You still provoke them and that kind of stuff. And with Vigor in there, you have like a consistent healing. And with this team, it was pretty doable. So in the end, you see like my HP bars are pretty full. I was able to push them back. Vigor is doing enough damage, and Pharaoh was just useful to cleanse out the first silences. So that is 12 stars already, and we got the Devilmon. So next one is you have a chance to stun, which is you get a free despair. Immune to cooldown increasing effects. Again, doesn't matter too much if you just push them back all the time. So just same team as normal. You just have to make sure that everything never gets a turn. That's the main key to this, because otherwise this stage can be pretty annoying. Same for this one, just make sure they never get a turn, and then it's pretty fine. So then you're at the boss stage. So you see Hellfest is on the side. They're pretty annoying, but the main thing you want to not do is get Hellfest below 50% HP. So what I noticed then is this is a lot better with Spectra than Balanus, because Spectra is in general way better for all of these stages actually. But I don't have a Spectra, so I'm using Balanus. You don't want to push the damage too much that you actually get on the point where Hellfest starts healing on your ass. So what you want to do is you only want to use AoE skills when actually necessary, and the only ones that mean stuff. So I stopped doing Balanus S3s at some point. I still did, like in this case, I think I just go Balanus S1. Yeah, I just keep going Balanus S1. For pushbacks, the AoE pushbacks from Poseidon, I still do it. From Tyron, I do it for sure, because that one is actually not that much damage. And, well, I didn't have a damage Tyron, I did have a damage Poseidon. And in this case, it's still pretty easy. So as you can see, I didn't even do that much damage on the Hellfest in the end. And then it was 15. So you already get the Light and Dark Scroll. So you're pretty much halfway there already, or even more. Block beneficial effects. And, well, I don't use any beneficial effects in this team. The Dark Monkless is a little bit worse in that case. And 22% chance to get an additional turns. Can be annoying, because if they stun, they get a turn, they proc out, they proc. Could be annoying, but still, same team. Just going in there. First stage does absolutely nothing. Second stage is a little bit more annoying, because you have the Ragdoll Leo combination. I think I had to redo this once. Oh yeah, I redid it, and then I actually switched out Poseidon for Rika for more dots, more consistent stuns without doing too much damage, because you don't want to really crit a Ragdoll early on. You could also instead use Thessarion. Thessarion is pretty legit as an option, and I use Thessarion sometimes, and I just throw like a damage set on in with like high speed and that kind of stuff, and it works pretty well. But this is one stage I would recommend. If you have troubles with it, just go for Thessarion, and just firstly Oblivion the Ragdoll, then Oblivion the Leo, and then it should be pretty easy. So yeah, as you can see, at some point you just, with the dots and that kind of stuff, it's pretty doable. Like us do Revenge, which is pretty annoying. And then this stage was for me actually pretty easy, because nothing, like I barely ever got a turn. I did start off wrong because I didn't have my S3 up, which is pretty annoying. But these bears, they didn't do too much, because they don't... I think they have an S3, they don't even have a passive. I'm not even 100% sure, but they pretty much just never got a turn, so... And then it's pretty fine. If they got a turn, it was provoked, so... pretty easy. So actually the second stage in this one, or the second round in stage 6 was more difficult than the boss itself. So then we're getting into an end and we have 18 stars already. More mystical scrolls, yes. So then we have this one. This is a new stage. So we have immune to inability effects and applies 1 turn immunity at the start of the battle. So you're gonna have to strip again. And I noticed that Tiana was a lot better here than Gianna. So I ruined up my Gianna, or I ruined up my Tiana, and you started doing this, and you can stun them, but they don't do all too much. It's the same as always. You just push back enough, that kind of stuff, and you get there. The only thing is you do reflect damage on yourself, so at some point you kind of watch out with what unit you're hitting what, because your healing is a single target and not AoE, so at some point everything kind of gets low. Then this stage was actually annoying if you don't hit your provokes and your pushbacks. I think I had to redo it once or twice, but then it was doable. This is one of the stages I recommend like maybe doing on less stars if it's easier for you. So then we get to the final stage. Final stage is a little bit annoying, but still pretty doable, because the Moors, of course, they start hitting you when you hit them once, but the moment they hit you once, afterwards they're not gonna do too much. And I was able to keep everything like pretty much in check, that they're not getting that many turns. And with that said, it was pretty doable. You can actually use buffs, so use your buff of yeah, just use your things when necessary. Watch out that you don't Tiana S3. But this stage was a little bit more tricky, but it was in the end pretty doable. But again, this one is one that I would say like maybe reduce some stars, that you can use some like more benefit. So then we already have a legendary scroll. So technically you're done unless you want to push for more. I did some more stages. So this is where it gets annoying. Block beneficial effect and 1 turn silence at the start of the battle. So Vayne Solidor, that actually mostly gets rank 1 in Europe, told me you don't have to use Varo for this one. I tried a few times without Varo. Please, please use either Varo or Tetra for this one, because you're not gonna like it. And I'm gonna tell you why. And as you can see here, I'm at stage 8 right now, and this is stage 8 and 9 pretty much. Well, I also did a little bit of 10, but yeah, this stage is pretty annoying. He told me, it's like, you can just out-tank this and then it's fine. Technically, yes, you can, but I don't really recommend you out. So, okay. Then at this stage, the poison masses are actually pretty annoying, because the poison masses, the moment they get a turn with debuffs, they give everyone attack bar, and it's a lot of attack bar. So the moment you're outweighting your damage, the moment they get a turn, they start like stunning, they start silencing. If they get a like a real turn, it's just super annoying. So the monkeys, you don't stun them that well, that kind of stuff. This was actually a pretty annoying stage. And you kind of like, this looks okay-ish, besides that this unit is pretty much almost dead. But yeah, you can't really stun them that easily. You have the counters, that kind of stuff. You get stunned. This was pretty annoying. So what did I actually end up doing? I wasted a whole bunch of time on this stage. So then I tried it with dots, didn't work. Then in the end, my final team was actually using both Veromos and using Tesario. This took me like 2 or 3 tries, because I had some Oblivions resisted, which was a little bit annoying. But the moment I got Oblivions landing on the poison masses, I got the other units stunned up. It started to get pretty easy. So if you just get like the Oblivion, resisted Oblivion, annoying. So the moment you just get the Oblivion offs and that kind of stuff, you just kill with the dots. At some point Asima's just left. You just provoke Asima and then it's pretty doable. These units actually hit like for a decent amount. Also the Veromos stun was pretty beneficial, I noticed. Another resist. I'm not sure if they have increased resist. I should actually check, but they were pretty annoying. So I think I cleared it on this try. Nope, not even. And this try I didn't make it. Yep. So yeah, I still need like a few tries with this. It was an annoying stage, but in the end it managed. And I think that the Sarion plus Veromos really helped out in my case. And I do recommend other people to use it well. My Tesarion was Vio and my Veromos was Swift. Also, it was one of the stages I do recommend to do on lower stars if it's too difficult. So then we have this one. We have a Lydia with unrecoverable, increased attack bar from damage received. This one is super annoying as well. So what you can use against this is Valeria. Valeria is really cheap. I had a pretty speedy, swift Valeria. Another option I've seen some other people use, which I actually recommend if you have a Spectra, you go Gani Hathor, and instead of focusing the Lydia, you focus the side units, which is a Julian, and Julian can drain the attack bar of the whole team, and therefore you can bring Lydia in killing range without actually having to hit the Lydia or having to hit like the Narcias that are next to it, because those are the actual annoying units of this stage. So this took me a lot of tries. I tried a whole bunch of different teams at some point. I'm going to showcase you the team that I used. I do recommend the team that I just mentioned with the Spectra because it's probably way easier than the thing I was trying. So I often had the issue that at some point either the Narcias took a hit or took a move and then they just do a lot of damage and then it's just super annoying. Valeria was actually able to tank Lydia decently enough. The only issue is without a Spectra you don't have a defense or an attack debuff. So without the attack debuff, these units actually do an insane amount of damage. Also, you don't want to use multi-hitters. If you use multi-hitters, they get multiple attack bars. So if you use Balinus S2, everything gets 30% attack bar. So that's why I didn't want to use Balinus at first and I started trying to witch it with a train, which is not 2-8 in my case. You want to reset as much on like the Poseidon as possible, but still, this is such an annoying team. I even tried it with Melia. Going back to the Melia meta, this team was actually pretty close on clearing it. I think it was really close. Yeah, even at some point, yeah, when Valeria dies, it's end. I think this team was really close at some point. Yeah, you're at this point. This point, it was so frustrated, man, because Valeria was getting like lower and lower, and the more damage you do on the Lydia, the more damage she starts pulling out. So that's you don't like that. So a little bit fast forward. At this point, it's like, okay, can I actually clear it if I push back enough and do enough damage and that kind of stuff? So it was pretty close. It was pretty close. Also with the Melia, which is max skill to actually push back even more. The Valeria pushback, so... And the funny thing is, you're like, who put armor break there? None of these units do armor break. Now, Lydia does armor break on Valeria. Valeria S2, you throw back the armor break. So I was like, ooh, that actually works. That actually works. So the moment she just glanced, didn't crit, I had enough shield to actually keep it up. But the issue is every skill I did push the attack bar even more. So at some point you just get to a point where you don't really want her for like, especially with like Gani S2, Gani S or Gani S1, he just pushes double, which is super annoying. So yeah, this is pretty much an issue scenario. Gani didn't push back on the S3, and then at some point you get issues where she's not unglancing, and we crash with the device. And yeah, afterwards, oh, I think I didn't even finish it, but I think she had like I think she had like 10% HP left. So then I started doing it with Balinus again, because Balinus dots, and I thought it was more important to have the attack debuff, which you normally have from Spectra. So Spectra's super MVP. If you want to, again, if you want to like chill through all of these stages, you build a unbalanced field Dark Homunculus, you build a Spectra, because those units are super important to make this thing easy. I just overclassed it with runes, and it works for some stages, it doesn't work with some others. So I think this was actually my success run, or it's the next one. Yeah, I think it's the next one. So this one, I think with some point with Balinus, I just did enough damage. I kind of wanted to drain like the Julians. What I also mostly did, you don't want to hit the Narcias. You do not want to hit the Narcias because they get too much attack speed from their passive already. So you mostly want to have a stand-up Julian and then hit the Julian. You don't want to hit Lydia. So all of the things I was targeting at was mostly just doing damage on units that were actually stunned, which preferably were the Julians. So you kind of want to steal, like make that the Julian passive triggers, and then he starts stealing HP from Lydia. But like that, you just do 30 damage on Lydia for nothing, which is pretty chill. But you don't always get to that range, so that's a little bit more tricky. Also, when Narcissists are demounted, it makes it a lot easier. That was a really good AoE stun, so yes, I did need some RNG for this setup, team, whatever, whatnot. So, and then you keep resetting, Maelstrom, that kind of stuff. You do have an armor break with this one. He is actually able to armor break, but it just doesn't always work out that way, which kind of sucks. But in the end, this team, it was still pretty close actually, but in the end, this team managed to do it, I think. Armor break, Maelstrom, no glancing. Good proc. Yeah, I needed some RNG for this stage. This stage was legit a bitch. Yeah, I should make a Spectra 2A, but I have so many 2As from like the PvE units that I can't afford it to make more 2A units, kind of. So yeah, that glancing kind of helped out. He doesn't do, or she doesn't do too much damage when you're glancing, but it's just, this was a highly annoying stage. And then we came to the final stage, which I actually cleared last month. I did that not on video, so I thought like, oh, I can go like 30 stars on video this time again. So you get like some decent amount of crystals if you're free to play. It can be worth it. But the issue for this one is, which I didn't know, normally you have like the 200% crit damage, which I can work around with. Block beneficial effect is more annoying, but okay. Because I use Nigong actually, and Nigong is terrible with block beneficial effect. But the reflect of 300, that's a real pain issue, because normally you would do this with Spectra. Spectra single target hits. But I kind of did it with Jemire, and Jemire kills himself on S2, because S2, the moment you hit multiple times, you get the reflect multiple times. So he would just kill himself on an S2, pretty much. So I tried it with Sigmarus, and Sigmarus is no-go. So this one, you do need one of the birds, either Spectra or Shaman. If you don't have those, I haven't seen any team actually succeed this. If you have any team that would, let me know. Without Spectra, let me know. Really curious about that. But I don't see it happening, and therefore I tried this a few times with Sigmarus. It's very, very difficult, so you need a Spectra for this. So I ended at 27 stars. That's it for this video. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you had like a few things that you can use from it. Again, I just recommend going on free rune removal, throw your best runes at it, get 20 stars or at least the 10 stars for Devilmon. Devilmon is the most important thing, and like L&D and LS, you're probably not gonna get nothing anyways, but yeah, who knows. But get those 10 stars in a free rune removal. It's pretty easy. Actually, this whole video is like 3 hours, but I started at stage 8. Yeah, I got to stage 8 at the timer mark of 1 hour 25. So I cleared stage 1 to 7 in an hour and a half. Sure, I have maybe better runes than you, maybe not, but yeah, it's actually pretty doable to just do it on one day real quick, throwing your best sets, and it actually makes it a lot easier. Also, having Spectra and unbalanced field Dark Homunculus make it a lot easier. But I have issues with Devilmons, and I have issues with the whole energy. So don't want to waste too much of those. Don't look at my other video where Devilmon sat for no reason. Okay, don't want to waste too much of those, but thanks for watching, guys, and see you in the next one.